Hey guys, welcome back to another brand new video. We are back for our Stage 2 Week 3 predictions. And this week has got the most implications on Group B. It's one of the craziest groups we've seen yet. But before we hop into that, we're going to hop into our Week 2 predictions. Give those a quick rundown. We'll hop into Week 3. Alright, so there was some good and there was some bad. I just can't put a finger on Minnesota. I think Minnesota, I ride high on Minnesota. They lose both their matches. They come in with a sub, Standy, don't know much about. And do they even drop a map? They do, but they win both their series, beating Optic and Dallas in the same week. I mean, I just don't even know what to say about that. Besides that, Dallas got a 3-1 over Paris. I got that right. The Thieves just couldn't get it together. I thought, if anything, out of all the teams I put a sub in, I thought the Thieves would succeed the most, and I was completely wrong. I thought they'd beat the Ravens. Didn't happen. The Ravens got a big win. New York beating the Gorillas, got that right. New York beating the Ravens, got that right. FaZe beating the Thieves, got that right. Toronto beating the Gorillas, got that right. Seattle beating Paris, got that right. And this is where I, once again, didn't bet on Minnesota. Dallas loses 3-2 to Minnesota. That was a great game. Optic having just one of the worst weeks I have ever seen, not winning a single map. Losing to Minnesota and to Florida. That was bad. So in total, it was only a 14-point week. That is pretty brutal, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I got more games right than wrong, but neither of my game fuel matches really went my way. I guess both the Optic games wrong, and I guess both the Minnesota games wrong. So let's hop into week 3 and hope we can do better. It's so crazy because this last week I felt so good about these picks. I thought I had it locked in, and 14 might be the worst points I've ever gotten in an entire week. 4v4 competitive is so much better than 5v5 last year. 4v4 competitive, there is not, I mean, sure, there's teams that are better than others, but there is hardly any like real blowouts. There's so many upsets every week. You think a team's good one week and this team comes out the next week and they're that much better. It's stupid. But anyways, let's hop into our first match of the week, which is Dallas Empire Florida Mutineers. Florida had a nice showing last week, beating Optic. That was their only match of the week, so Florida has to play twice this week. I do expect Dallas to win this one. You know, they beat Paris comfortably, and they lost a close match to Minnesota. I definitely expect Dallas to win this one. I'm gonna take them in a 3-1 because Florida definitely shows some signs of improvement, but I still think Dallas takes that. Now, this right here might be one of the best matchups of the entire week, and it has huge implications. Optic being 1-2, Seattle being 2-1. Seattle currently holds a 2 seed in Group B. They have to win at least one of their matches, I think, to secure top 2. And I think it's going to be right here. Seattle's on a crazy run. Optic's had a terrible week. I think Optic will bounce back and they will play better. But I think this is the series Seattle needs to really cement themselves as being, you know, a really good team throughout Stage 2. So I'm going to take Seattle to win in a 3-1 over Optic. Now we have Toronto and London. I don't love Toronto. I mean, they beat the Gorillas in a 3-2. But I think the Gorillas right now are the worst team in the league, and they barely squeaked out a win against them. London looked great last week, beating. They also beat. They beat the Thieves. They did lose to London. They did lose to New York, but New York's pretty good, and they got a map off them. So I'm definitely gonna take London to win. I'm gonna take them in a win in a 3-2 over Toronto. All right, this is the one matchup where it should be clean and cut. Atlanta over LA Gorillas. Gorillas, the worst team in the league, even though they did have a nice upset over the Thieves in Stage 1. Atlanta looks borderline untouchable at 11-0, 12-0, whatever they are. I'm going to take Atlanta to win a 3-0. It's just hard to see it any other way. I'm going to take Atlanta for sure. Then we have Florida Mutineers versus the Paris Legion. Paris are kind of out of their group right now. Florida's right in the middle of theirs trying to compete. Florida looked good last week. I do expect them to lose against Dallas, but I do expect them to rebound against Paris. Paris is unfortunately a nice team to rebound off of after a loss. So I'm going to take Florida to win this in a 3-0 over Paris. This is another huge matchup. Seattle has one of the toughest weeks to try and make top 2. They have to play Optic and Minnesota in the same week. That's really tough. I do expect them to beat Optic. And I think this is gonna be an upset pick. I'm gonna take Seattle to also beat Minnesota here. I'm gonna take there's always upsets every week, and I really haven't been predicting them that well. And with Seattle on an upswing, I know Minnesota's also on an upswing, but one of them's got to fold here. They're both coming off winning streaks coming into this match, so someone's got to lose. And I think Seattle wants it more right now, especially after their poor stage one. Even though Minnesota also had a poor stage one, Seattle's sticking with their roster, which looked like there could have been a change. But I'm gonna take Seattle here. It's gonna be really close. I'm gonna take them in a 3-2 over Minnesota. All right, we got a double points matchup here. We've got New York Subliners, Toronto Ultra. This should be a New York win. New York has looked great. Clayster has molded that team into something I thought wasn't going to happen. I thought New York was going to be a bottom 4 team, maybe even bottom 3 team this year. But Clayster wasn't having any of that. He has, it seems like it's been single-handedly. It's probably not, but he has molded this team for sure into one of these top 3, top 4 teams. Toronto's definitely bottom 2. I'd put them with the Gorillas, bottom 2 team right now. So I'm going to take New York definitely in a 3-0 over Toronto. Okay, we've got Atlanta, FaZe, London, Royal Ravens. Honestly, I kind of feel like I want to call an upset London over Atlanta. But it's just, I feel like the first time I'm going to get Atlanta wrong is when I just don't pick them to win. Because right now it's just so hard to bet against Atlanta until they lose, until they show that weakness. So I'm going to have to take Atlanta here. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be a 3-1, and I think it'll be close. But I still think Atlanta pulls it out and goes into Stage 2 tournament undefeated. Now we have the Thieves and the Gorillas, 2 LA teams that both, I don't think, got a single win last week, which is pretty brutal if you're a fan of either of those teams or the city at all. One of them's got a win here. I think it's got to be the Thieves, man. They're still trying to, work in their new sub, Venom, and they didn't have a poor showing, but they just didn't have a great showing. I think another week of practice and a bounce back off of LA, is also that other team you can bounce off of, like Paris. I think they'll bounce off of LA and get a win going into Stage 2. They won't be, a top seed or anything, but it'll be a win to get them into the tournament. I'll take them to win 3-1 over the Gorillas. All right, and then we have Dallas, Empire, Optic, Chicago. I think this will decide who gets second place in the group for winners bracket. It's a big deal to get that winners bracket secured over that losers bracket. You just want to have that extra buffer. And the way that both these teams played in the week 1 and week 2, both of them can't be in it. So I think this will be the deciding factor. Optic's coming off of 2 losses. Dallas is coming off of 1 or 2 losses. They're coming off of 1 loss. They beat Paris and barely beat Seattle in around 11, so they're looking kind of shaky themselves. I took Dallas to win their first matchup. I took Optic, so at this point, Optic has lost 3-0. If they lose this one here, which I think they will. But I think this is where I think I'm going to take Dallas to win this one. Optics just, it's hard to show life when you don't win a map for an entire week. So I'm going to take Dallas to win. I'm going to take Dallas to win in a 3-2 over Optic. That pains me. But I think that's just the reality right now. I think Optic may have to just chalk up Stage 2 and just head to Stage 3 because right now it's looking pretty brutal. But anyways, these are my week 3 predictions heading into the Major and the Los Angeles Gorillas home series. There's a lot of good matches, a lot of implications. There's going to be a lot to watch. The Optic Seattle game is going to be great. Optic Minnesota Seattle is going to be great. Dallas Optic's going to be great. And I think some of these lower ones like LA, Toronto and London can also be really good. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'm going to go ahead and save my predictions. Like always, you guys can always join me and play in my bracket, my private little leaderboard that we have going if you ever wanted to play. But anyways, guys, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you ever wanted to join, IDs, please play password 1234 if you ever want to join. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want more of me, make sure to follow my Twitter and Twitch down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.